Have you ever read Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator? If you haven't, it is about a boy who inherits a glass elevator that can take him and his family to space. When released in 1972, this story was just a story, with a magical elevator that could do amazing things. There was no scientific basis for this story. However, now we can see that this concept, an elevator to space, is not such a far-fetched idea. We don't have to rely on magic, but instead on science to make this happen. And not only will it be an incredible feat on its own, but it will allow for a host of other applications to bear fruit. One of these applications is microgravity research, and its benefits are not only applicable to outer space, but also right here on Earth. Hi, my name is Henrique Moreira. I'm an honors pure and applied science student at Vanier College in Canada, and I'll be presenting the 4 main points of my research paper, Space Elevator, Applications of Geostations and Microgravity, that was written for the 2023 International Space Elevator Consortium Space Elevator Challenge. The conception of the space elevator dates back as far as the 1900s, and its design has gradually matured over the years, particularly in the past 2 decades. With today's technology getting more advanced, the feasibility of erecting such a structure is looking promising. But let's back up for a second. What is a space elevator? The International Space Elevator Consortium's base design from the 2019 study, Today's Space Elevator, is comprised of an earthport, a tether, about 7 climbers per tether, a geostationary, or geonode, an apex anchor node, and a headquarters. All this infrastructure makes up a galactic harbor, and the concept plans for 6 different ones spread throughout the equator. The climbers will go up and down the tether as needed, delivering payloads to and from space. It will also allow for mankind to hold a more permanent presence in space with an increase in access and a reduction in cost. And here's a very interesting thing about the space elevator. With the entire structure rotating around the Earth, there is one point along the tether that we can find zero effective gravity. This means that at that point, we would experience weightlessness. This point is at geosynchronous altitude, or about 35,786 kilometers above sea level. Think about it as being just under 2 times the length of the Great Wall of China if we were to stretch it out in a straight line. From this point, a geostation could serve as a hub with numerous applications from satellite deployment to the conduction of research. Studies on the effect that a geostation would have on the structure of a space elevator is still in its early stages. However, in a study conducted for the 2022 Space Elevator Conference, a geostation was found to not have an impact on the static loads of the cable, regardless of the geo's mass. It does affect the system's dynamics, but that preliminary study suggests that its impact is minimal, even for a geomass much greater than the rest of the system. A geostation could then, theoretically, be of any size, with room for any desired infrastructure and a capacity to grow with time. Microgravity is a condition in which objects and people appear to be weightless or close to. There is so much that we can still learn from performing microgravity research. On Earth, all experiments are conducted assuming gravity as a constant of 9.8 meters per second squared. However, when in microgravity, this is not the case, and results that were previously consistent on Earth may have differing outcomes. Applications of microgravity are vast and span across multiple fields of science. Some interesting applications that are already being studied are the effects of microgravity in biotechnology, in combustion science, in fluid physics, in fundamental physics, and in material science, just to name a few. There have already been breakthroughs in fundamental disease research, such as Alzheimer's and cancer. It has been noted, for example, that cell culture growth is better in microgravity than on Earth, and this has helped in testing for cancer treatments. Currently, the 2 main ways of accessing microgravity for research are the International Space Station and zero-G planes. First, the ISS is a multinational cooperation between the United States, Canada, Europe, Japan, and Russia. The station is located in low Earth orbit, and it achieves zero-G by essentially falling continuously around the Earth. Secondly, the zero-G planes achieve zero gravity by flying in parabola-like patterns, creating freefall. Both methods, however, are not suitable for long-term progress. The planes can only do so much and create a short zero-G environment. As for the ISS, it is reaching the end of its lifespan. Its operations are expected to cease by the end of this decade and begin its gradual deorbiting. And as such, a geostation could replace future space stations while providing more versatility. Space elevator concepts have had a particularly exceptional application in this respect, allowing for the housing of research technologies and equipment. All of this cutting-edge research can be further propelled by the variation of microgravity within a geostation, which we'll see in a bit, and it is a variation that no space station or aircraft can have due to their limit in size, due to feasibilities, and due to cost. As part of the research paper, these were the results of calculations for the variation of microgravity in a geostation. The graph is a representation of the variation of microgravity 100 meters above and 100 meters below geo-altitude. Since here we're relatively far away from Earth, we notice a linear relationship between these two variables. The two parameters that were used in the calculations were Earth's gravity and the centrifugal force acting away from Earth, caused by its spin. It is at geostationary orbit that the sum of these two forces is zero, and this is what creates zero-G conditions. On the side of geo closer to Earth, its gravitational force would be slightly greater than that of the centrifugal force. Thus, the floor would be below you, as it is the case when you are on Earth. However, on the side of geo away from Earth, the centrifugal force would be slightly stronger than the gravitational force, so the floor would now become what is traditionally thought of as the ceiling. A geostation of this size would certainly have multiple floors. With a height of about 3 meters per floor, the station would have approximately 33 different floors. Well, this is very unrealistic, but if the math says we can, why not experiment? The potential applications of such a huge structure are astounding. Operations within the station could have several floors spanning tens of meters, creating bigger areas for research and even storage. An additional benefit of having a geostation is the microgravity variations itself. At the center of the station, there is 0G, but at each extremity, as per the dimensions in this example, it could go up to 0.16 microGs. And this is not even considering the possibility that the station could be much bigger. For any experiment, a wide range of conditions can be provided. All that must be done is go to the desired height or floor within the station and conduct the experiment. This is a versatility that no space station like the ISS has or would have due to their limit in size. These applications could open doors to new discoveries that would expand human knowledge. Novel experiments can be conducted, generating outcomes that will benefit not only humans on Earth, but will benefit the future of human space exploration. Estimates on cost have found that taking payloads to geo-orbit using a space elevator would be 50 to 100 times cheaper than using chemical rockets. The anticipated cost after the space elevator becomes fully operational is to be $100 per kilogram, as opposed to the current $20,000 per kilogram. As well, efficiently housed maintenance facilities on board the geostation could provide proper and continual maintenance that is critical to extend satellite lifespan beyond their expected 10 years, this being for newer satellites. A satellite, or any other orbital debris, at geo-altitude can stay in orbit indefinitely. To capture orbital debris would greatly help declutter the space around Earth. Debris could be captured by robotic arms or deployed nets attached to the exterior of the geostation. The station could then store the debris until it could be transported back down to Earth. A geostation and the space elevator would be useful in accommodating for space tourism at a reduced cost and for longer duration stays when compared to what is offered today. And what we have today are commercial space flights that last a few hours. The funds generated from this system could greatly help in the operational, repair, and constructional costs of the space elevator systems across the board. As well, a space elevator is expected to be a safer means to reach space. Rocket failure rates range from about 5% and decrease as the number of launches increase. Even with more reliable rockets and launch mechanisms today, it is unlikely that failure rates will ever reach zero. There is no real-world safety data on the space elevator because it's not yet a reality. However, the space elevator is expected to have a failure rate very close to zero. More research and experiments are needed before the space elevator becomes a reality, especially research on the applications of a geostation. Important factors that need to be considered are the exact construction of the station and its operational costs, for example. A geostation is a transformational infrastructure that should be implemented on any future space elevator. Precise research could be conducted utilizing its capabilities, research that as of now is not possible. The gravity that is thought of as a constant would no longer be so, allowing for new discoveries and new methods of research to be generated. The potential for such cutting-edge research has applications in a variety of different fields that would certainly help with human exploration of the cosmos. And in the words of astronaut John Young, the dream is alive.